You can tell a lot about a person's life by one number. Not their salary, not their car payment, not the size of their house, their net worth. Because income tells you what comes in. Net worth tells you what stays. It tells you how much pressure you live under, how much room you have to breathe, how many problems can hit you before your whole life starts shaking. Two people can make the same salary and live completely different lives. One is drowning. One is building. Same paycheck, different net worth. And that number changes everything. Your stress, your confidence, your choices, your relationships, your risk, your freedom. So let's break it down. Level 1, negative net worth. This is where you owe more than you own. Your bank account might have money in it, but on paper you are underwater. Student loans, credit card debt, car loan, medical bills, personal loans, maybe unpaid taxes. You check your balance and it says $800. But your real number is negative $32,000. That is the part nobody sees. People see you go to work. They see you buy groceries. They see you laugh at dinner. They do not see the debt sitting behind your life like a shadow. At this level, money does not feel like a tool. It feels like a leak. Every paycheck comes in already damaged. Rent takes a piece. Debt takes a piece. Interest takes a piece. The past takes a piece. And by the time you are done paying for decisions you made months or years ago, the future gets whatever is left. Sometimes nothing. Negative net worth does something to your brain. You stop thinking long-term because long-term feels fake. You are not planning wealth. You are planning survival. A flat tire is not a flat tire. It is a crisis. A late fee is not a fee. It is a reminder that you are already behind. At this level, the goal is not to look rich. The goal is to stop bleeding. Level 2, $0 to $10,000. This is the first breath. You are not rich. You are not comfortable. But you are no longer underwater. For the first time, your life has a floor. Maybe it is $1,200 in savings. Maybe it is $4,000. Maybe it is $9,500 sitting quietly in an account you are afraid to touch. It does not look impressive from the outside. Nobody claps when your net worth hits $3,000. But internally, something changes. You start sleeping a little differently. A small emergency still hurts, but it does not destroy you immediately. The car battery dies. You hate it, but you can pay. The dentist says you need work done. You panic, but less than before. At this level, money becomes a thin wall between you and chaos. Not a strong wall, but a wall. The danger here is that $10,000 can make you feel safer than you really are. One job loss can erase it. One medical bill can erase it. One bad month can drag you back down. So this level teaches you something important. Being above zero is not freedom, but it is the beginning of dignity. Level 3, $10,000 to $100,000. This is where life starts to breathe. You still work because you have to, but money is no longer chasing you every second of the day. You have savings, maybe a retirement account, maybe some investments, maybe your debt is lower, maybe your emergency fund finally feels real. At this level, you start noticing a new emotion. Calm. Not happiness. Not luxury. Just calm. You stop checking your account before every small purchase. You stop feeling your heart drop when a bill hits. You can say no to things. That is one of the first real signs of financial progress. Not buying something expensive. Saying no because you finally have options. You can leave a bad job a little sooner. You can fix problems before they become disasters. You can make decisions that are not only based on fear. But this level is also frustrating. Because you have enough money to see the next life, but not enough to live it yet. You see people buying homes. You see people investing more. You see people taking risks. And you wonder why you still feel behind. That is because $100,000 is a milestone, not an escape. Proves you can build. But it does not remove the system around you. Level 4. $100,000 to $500,000. This is where money starts changing how you move. Not loudly, quietly. You become more confident in rooms because you are no longer one emergency away from collapse. You are still careful but not terrified. You can afford better choices. A safer apartment. A reliable car. better insurance, better food, a trip without putting it on a credit card. You start realizing how expensive it was to be broke. When you had no money, every mistake had interest. Now mistakes still hurt, but they do not multiply as fast. At this level, people may start treating you differently, even if they do not know your number. You are calmer, less desperate, harder to pressure, and that changes how the world responds to you. But this is also where comparison gets dangerous. Because $250,000 sounds like a lot until you start comparing it to houses, childcare, taxes, inflation, and retirement. You realize wealth is not just having money. It is having enough money that life cannot easily take it away. And at this level, life can still take it away. One lawsuit, one bad investment, one long unemployment stretch, one family emergency. You are doing well, but you are not untouchable. Level 5, $500,000 to $1 million. This is the protection level. Something changes when your net worth gets close to 7 figures. Emergencies become problems, not disasters. The roof needs repair. Annoying. The car breaks down. Annoying. You lose a job. Serious but not instant panic. At this level, money starts giving you emotional distance. You can think before reacting. You can negotiate. You can wait. And waiting is a privilege most people never talk about. When you are broke, you take the first option because you need help now. At this level, you can wait for the better job, the better deal, the better rate, the better moment. Your money is no longer just sitting there. It is buying patience. But $1 million is not what people think it is. It does not mean private jets. It does not mean endless spending. For many people, it means a house, retirement accounts, investments, and maybe some cash. A lot of the money is not spendable in the way people imagine. Still, the psychological change is real. You are no longer trying to escape the bottom. You are trying to protect what you built. Level 6, $1 million to $5 million. This is where money starts working harder than you do. Not completely, but enough for you to notice. Your investments move more in a year than you used to save in 5. A normal market gain can add 6 figures to your net worth without you clocking in for extra hours. That feels strange at first, because for most of your life, money came from effort. Now some of it comes from ownership. At this level, your relationship with work changes. You may still work, but the reason changes. Maybe you work for purpose. Maybe you work for identity. Maybe you work because stopping feels scarier than continuing. But survival is no longer the only reason. This is also where status starts becoming less interesting. You can buy the watch. You can buy the car. You can take the trip. And after a while, you realize most of it does not change you. The real luxury is not being seen. It is being free to disappear. Free to turn your phone off. Free to leave the meeting. Free to say, I do not need this. That is a different kind of wealth. Level 7, $5 million to $25 million. At this level, money buys access. Not just comfort. Access. Better lawyers. Better accountants. Better investments. Better doctors. Better networks. Better information. Problems do not vanish. They become managed. You do not just have money in a bank. You have relationships around money. Advisors. Private bankers. Tax planners. Estate attorneys. People whose job is to keep your wealth from leaking. At lower levels, money is personal. At this level, money becomes infrastructure. You start thinking in systems. Taxes. Trusts. Ownership. Risk. Legacy. Liquidity. The questions change. Not can I afford this? But should I own this personally? Through a company? Or not at all? Not can I retire? But how do I structure my life so money keeps working without me? But this level has its own trap. You can become isolated. People assume you are fine because of the number. They do not see the pressure, the distrust, the family expectations, the fear of losing what took decades to build. Money solves money problems. It does not solve human problems. It just changes the room where those problems happen. Level 8, $25 million and up. This is where money becomes power. At this level, your decisions affect other people. Employees, family members, partners, communities. companies, sometimes entire markets. You are not just living inside the system anymore. You can influence parts of it. Banks call you, deals come to you, people pitch you, invitations appear, rooms open. And the strangest part is many rules become flexible. Not officially, but practically. Deadlines move, fees disappear, meetings get scheduled, exceptions get made. The world becomes softer around wealth. Not because it is fair, because large amounts of money create gravity. People move toward it. But even here, the lesson stays the same. You are still you. The number changed. The treatment changed. The options changed. But the person underneath is still the same person who once worried about bills, missed sleep, and wondered if life would always feel tight. The real lesson. Net worth is not just a money number. It is a pressure number. Negative net worth means the past owns part of your future. $0 to $10,000 means you finally have a floor. $10,000 to $100,000 means you can breathe. $100,000 to $500,000 means you have options. $500,000 to $1 million means you have protection. $1 million to $5 million means you have freedom. $5 million to $25 million means you have access. $25 million and up means you have power. But the biggest lesson is this. The goal is not to impress people at every level. The goal is to need less permission from the world. Because the higher your net worth climbs, the more life stops asking, "Can you survive this?" and starts asking, "What do you want to do next?" That is the real ladder. Not rich versus poor, pressure versus freedom. And every dollar you keep moves you one step higher.